This is a short supplemental module that will help you pack your deployment equipment. The purpose of this supplemental section is to help you identify some of the recommended personal equipment, also to help you differentiate between a 24-hour bag and a deployment bag, and also help you figure out how to pack your items between the two bags. First, we'll talk about some of the equipment that you'll need for a deployment. There should be two files located within this module for you to download. The first is the list pictured on the slide that gives you a good idea of some of the items that you'll need so that you can be self-sufficient during a deployment. Please note that this list is just a guideline, and your team leader may provide you with a different or more specific list based on your team's mission or the needs of a specific deployment. The second file that you will see available for download is a list that helps you divide your items based on a 24-hour bag and a 72-hour or deployment bag. So why do we suggest two bags? Well, if you've ever traveled by air and lost your luggage, then you know the answer to this question. We suggest a 24-hour bag and a deployment bag for this reason. Your 24-hour bag stays with you at all times, and it carries your immediate needs to survive for at least the first 24 hours. Your deployment bag or 72-hour bag will probably be transported by a trailer and will carry everything else that you're going to need for the deployment. We'll start with your 24-hour bag. For this, you should select a bag that is durable and easy to carry. It's durable because we don't know what kind of environment we're going to be in, and easy to carry because we're not sure how far you might have to carry that. Plus, if you leave the compound for any reason, you need to take your 24-hour bag with you just in case you don't make it back to base camp within the time allotted. You should also select a bag that has a very large main compartment and plenty of outside pockets. This will help with organizing your supplies. It would also be a good idea to select a bag that has a built-in hydration system or at least a pocket for a hydration pouch. As you begin packing your bag, be sure to include plenty of water, snacks, and food. How much is plenty of water, you say? Well, most people need at least a gallon of water per day. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to pack a whole gallon of water in your bag. That's why we suggest making sure that you have a bag that has a hydration system built in. At a minimum, be sure to include space for at least 2 1-liter bottles of water. It's also a good idea to consider including a water filtration system in your 24-hour bag. As far as food goes, an MRE is a good way to get a lot of food in a small area. But remember, one MRE has the calories needed for one day. It's approximately 1,800 to 2,100, but they are also high in sodium. You should also pack plenty of snacks to ensure that you have enough small stuff to eat throughout the day. You should include stuff like breakfast or cereal bars, protein bars, and comfort items. It's also a good idea to include your own personal survival supplies and a first aid kit. Survival items may include chem lights, rope, webbing, a lighter, matches, a survival blanket, a utility tool or knife, and duct tape. The personal first aid kit should be designed to help you take care of small cuts and scrapes, blisters, and insect bites. Next, be sure to include some quick access items: sunscreen, bug spray, hand sanitizer, notepads, pens, tape, and scissors. Have your work gloves immediately available, and don't forget a flashlight and a headlamp, and batteries to go with both. You should also have your personal medications in this bag where they're immediately available. It's also a good idea to consider having some drink mixes or water flavoring. Also, don't forget to find a location to carry any additional forms of ID that you're bringing with you, any medical credentials that you may have, and any cash that you're going to carry with you. Remember to consider bringing cash because where we're going there may not be any ATMs functioning. Also, when carrying cash, remember to carry it in small bills. Doing this might help prevent price gouging because if someone sees that you have a $20 or $50 bill, that bottle of water or Snickers bar might cost you $20 to $50. Inside the main compartment should be your bulk items, like a full change of clothes, your toiletries and a towel, a drop cloth or a small blanket, a hat, and a hydration system to wear around base camp. These pictures depict some of the items listed on the previous slide. As you can see in the top left, that blue bag is my hydration bag. Underneath that is my hydration bag and a hat that I keep in that compartment. Then you can see how I've layered in my clothes, my drop cloth, towel, toiletries, and some other spare clothes. In terms of spare clothes, I try to keep at least a set of non-work clothes in this bag as sleepwear. And while my sleeping gear is in my deployment bag, the drop cloth, small blanket, towel, and space blanket will work fine as bedding if I get separated from my deployment bag. You'll also note that in this picture everything is bagged separately. This is for organization and for water resistance. As far as your toiletries go, think about using travel size containers. Also, use containers that have not been opened to help prevent them from leaking. Additionally, make sure that everything is in at least one Ziploc bag, if not several smaller Ziploc bags. You should also consider making your toiletry kit FAA compliant, just in case we have to deploy by commercial carrier to the site of a disaster. Since we are a state-based team, this is an unlikely event, but at least if your toiletries are packed in this manner, changing out some of your other items won't be as difficult. We will now move on to your deployment bag. This should be a large duffel-style bag that is also durable with plenty of space and plenty of pockets. The bag should be able to supply approximately 5,000 to 6,000 cubic inches of storage space. However, don't pick a bag that is too large because we only have so much space available for transporting additional items. The main compartment of your deployment bag should contain the bulk of the rest of your clothing, bedding, and food. Make sure that you, again, divide your items up into individual bags for organization and for water resistance. In this picture you can see that I have my clothes for each day separated out into a single bag. Each bag contains a pair of pants, a shirt, a pair of underwear, and a pair of socks. Your deployment bag should also include a spare pair of boots or at least a spare pair of tennis shoes to wear off-duty and back and forth to the bathroom. Personal items like earplugs and face masks for sleeping, foot spray, personal wipes, an assortment of towels, and several empty plastic bags to put your dirty items in. It's also to include an inventory list in both your deployment bag and your 24-hour bag. This will help you know what items you brought with you so that you make sure you're bringing them all home, and it also helps before you deploy to let you know if there's any last-minute items you need to grab before you go out the door. Here's a list of important things to think about to help us wrap this section up. First, pack your bags in a way that they can stay packed. Don't just look at the list and assume that you can gather up all of these things when the deployment notification comes out. Next, check your bags regularly. Make sure that you always have what you think that you have. Also, make sure that your bags are labeled with at least your team identification and your name. Also, make sure the gear that you have is appropriate for the expected weather. Don't carry your summer sleeping bag on a winter deployment. It's also a good idea to plan to be able to reuse clothing and other items as much as possible. Think about including items like Febreze and Lysol disinfectant spray as your portable laundry. Finally, and most importantly, plan to be self-sufficient. Don't assume that you're going to be able to stop at Walmart on the way and pick something up. Or if you run out of something during the deployment, that you're going to be able to run over to Target and get a replacement for it.